Good morning, this is Baba Tunde with Pennystocking 100 to 1000. Welcome back to the series where we take a fresh account on Webull, starting with just $100, and show you the journey it takes to grow that $100 into $1,000 over time. And we're back. Today is May the 10th, 2019. This is the second week of the series, and let's show you what we're sitting on right now. There's going to be a lot of lessons to be learned from this week. So as you can see, the account is down. Red week. This is our first red week of the series. We started last week. We ended last week with like $127 in the account, and now we're at 108. So yeah, red week. A lot of lessons to be learned. Let me show you the trades we got. We got in two. We still have 1 day trade left, so that's good. So we have not used all three. So we can get started on a day trade as soon as Monday of next week. But let me show you what I did do this week. I had, I think the first trade I made, let me see. Yes, it was, here you go. This was the big red loss here. At the bottom, OSMT, Osmotica Pharmaceuticals, down $33. So we lost roughly 30% on that one. Pretty bad. We got in at the pre-market, 923. It was up quite a bit. I thought it was a good play. I had a lot of buying coming in on the level 2 charting, level 2 quotes. They had a lot of buying, big buy orders. So I got in close to the open at $4.50 a share, about 28 shares. You can see we got in on that on the 7th, which was Tuesday, I believe. And we didn't actually get out until the 9th, so we didn't actually get out until Thursday morning after the open at 9:38. So we lost, roughly $1.20 a share. The reason why I held on to this because it was roughly a small float, not as small of a float as the last stock I got in, which was ABIO, and we're gonna talk about that later because I got back in on that actually for another loss today, but we'll talk about that later. But right now, the float was pretty small for this stock, but not quite as small. So the float for ABIO was 1 million, and the float for OSMT, this stock I played right here, was about 7 million, I believe. So not as small of a float, but a pretty small float nonetheless. And so I thought that it had a lot of potential to come back around. But I don't know, I guess because the markets have been down. This has been a very, very rough week for the market. It has been down and down and down every day. So I don't know if that's the reason why this stock just gapped and crapped on that morning and the whole day. And it's actually been tanking the whole week, dropping the whole week throughout, actually. And I could see this coming after the first day or two, that it was going to keep doing that. So I went ahead and cut my losses instead of holding it. So let me show you the chart for OSMT. So you can see what happens when you break your rules, because normally I'm a trader of small day trades. I'm in and out, 2 hours max, and I'm on to the next play, win or lose. This is what happens when you break your rules. And I'm very fortunate that the account is still up maybe a couple percent in total, because most people, they will still be holding on to this stock and just bag holding this thing until it probably caves back down to the $1 area. But that's not me. So I cut my losses, went ahead and realized that I was making a big mistake. And this is the stuff that I teach. And, I can't be, I lose all credibility when I go against my own teachings. So it's time for me to kind of focus up and get back in the game. So we went ahead and cleared out of all positions this week to make sure we're ready to come into next week with a fresh, level head, and start back doing what we were supposed to be doing. Start back doing what got us these green gains every day, time after time. So we're gonna get back to that plan, because when you come into these things without a plan, this is what happens to your account. And so this was the charting from the 7th when I got in right here. On that big red candle, I got in at the open. looked like it had a lot of buying volume to it. So that's when I got in. It dropped huge. But like I said, a lot of these things have a spike. Even if they have a gap and crab, they have a spike. So I was waiting for a spike into a low float play. We didn't actually see that spike. It dropped down. It ended that day around the 380s. I decided to hold it overnight again because it was a low float, and I figured it might be able to, and it held that support pretty well on the day. So I figured it might get a bounce back, and maybe I, sell into that bounce back on the next day in the pre-market or something. But we didn't actually get that. It dropped even more the next day. Went to around the 320s, 317s, I think actually was the low, something like that. And it rebounded back towards the 350s on the day, and then that was the close around 350 that second day. And then the next day, which was Thursday on the 9th, it gapped down again to the 330s. And so you can see this thing just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. This stock was not going to have a good time. And another reason that I held this is because not only because it was a low flow play, the earnings were coming out. Earnings were coming out Thursday after hours. So I held it. And I decided, you know what? I'm not going to wait for earnings. Let me get out. And you can see I got out on the 9th. But a lot of time, these stocks can actually, coming into earnings, they do have that nice spike in anticipation of the earnings, right? So I wasn't going to hold it through earnings. I was never going to hold it through earnings. But I was expecting that anticipation of a breakout ahead of earnings, right? And that's another reason why I stayed in as long as I did, against my better judgment. But it just did not work out. It actually dropped and dropped and dropped. And analysts have a price target around $15, $16 a share for this thing. So that was another reason I stayed in as well. And it kind of, this stock might actually reach those levels or rebound back around to 10 or something like that. I don't know. But again, like I said, it's not one of the things that I want to wait and stick around and wait and see if it happens. I'm out, for now. If it becomes another play later on, then I'll jump back in later on for a day trade. But right now, I'm out. So we got out that morning on the 9th, cut our losses, and we made some day trades. Let's show you the day trades we made. We ended up making two day trades that day. So let me show you those. I forgot which ones they were. So, so Workhorse, WKHS, we made $4.25 on that one. That was a play. That was actually the play I should have been in on instead of bag holding OSMT. So while I was doing that and going against my rules, there were other plays that were going through the roof, right? This thing was 200% up on that first day. Donald Trump had tweeted out something about it, basically pump and dumped it around noon on Thursday, and I missed out big on that one because I was doing something else. So he missed out on that one. Or was it Wednesday? He did it Wednesday. And then Thursday it had a continuation. I think it did. Or I thought it was going to have a continuation Thursday. So that's why I got in after I cut my losses on OSMT. So I got in on here on the Workhorse at 9.44. I bought in at 2.35 a share. And then I bought another share at 9.49 at 2.26. And we got out at 12.38. So we was in for 3 hours. We got out 2.46. So, just 4 or 5% gain on that one. So we missed the big move. But we tried to see if it still has some juice left in it, and it did not. And it's still dropping to this day, of course, because it was a pump and dump. It was around 80 cents, and it went to around $3 in a day, So pump and dump, it's probably going to return back to the 80 cents area or dollar area-ish in a while. So, yeah, so we got a small piece of that, not a huge piece at all. That's unfortunate. But the next play we got in on was AETI, and the same day on Thursday. And we got in at 1:37 p.m. And we bought 72 shares at 128 and then we bought another one at 124. So we are trying to average down, a little bit, even though we don't have that much money to work with because we go all in anyway on the first buy for the most part. So we sold at 305 at $1.45 a share, and it even went into about 157. But I don't have to get the whole piece of the move. That's fine. So we made about 10% on that one, which was good, or around that area, 8, 9, 10% on that one. So that was good. So we were able to recoup some of our losses on that play. We made $12 on that one, so we recouped some of our losses on that, but still not quite enough to make up that $33 loss. Huge loss of the series. And again, this should not happen. And we have to do better, and we will do better coming into next week. Like I said, we will be getting back on track, doing what we need to do to make this series a success. Looking at things, we're not doing terrible. It's not the end of the world, right? The account is still up, 3%, right? Coming from being up nearly 22%, we're up 3%. So it's not huge. The account is still up, but this shouldn't happen. Like I said, this should never happen. We teach this in our ebook, the only penny stocking strategy you need, from $100 to $1,000. And I have to do better. I just have to do better, and I'm sorry, you guys. But like I said, from here on out, we will be sticking to our rules, sticking to our plan, and this is a great way to showcase what happens when you do not follow your rules. And my rules are set out in my ebook, in which you will just make 3-day trades per week. You will not do overnight plays, because it's hard to control. And another thing I want to show you actually is I wanted to do a overnight play, right? Because I started getting a little worried about losing that money. And see, your emotions start to kick in a lot too when you start deviating from your strategy and from your plan. So I got in on ABIO. It had a nice run up to 17 due to good earnings, and then it dropped that day and ended at 15. It even had a low of 14. It went to 15 and closed at 15. And in the after hours, I actually thought it would be a good idea to try to dip by. Maybe it'll retouch 15 or something like that. Didn't really get that. So I got in at, let's see, you can see 5.9. So I got in at 4.31. I bought 6 shares at $13.55. And then later on, the same day, I bought another share at $13.10 as it dropped. And today, I just sold it today, which is Friday, at $13.11. It got, during the intraday, it did reach about $13.80. It opened up around $13.80. So I could have got, maybe 2 or 3% gain today on it. But I figured, I was waiting for more. Maybe 4 or 5% gain. I would have took that maybe. But I was so upset because actually in the pre-market, right, I had put my order in to sell it at $14 a share. I never got filled. And I even checked back and looked at the pre-market volume and the pre-market prices, and it even touched $14.10. And somehow my $14 order did not go through at all. So I was a little upset about that. So I ended up back again. My emotions took over. I ended up back holding that one all day again Friday, and like I said, I just now sold it in the after hours, a little after 7 p.m. So I went ahead and took that loss, cut that loss, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to take this into Monday. I want to start Monday fresh, coming into the week 3 of the series. I want to come in fresh with a level head. I don't want to have any positions open right now. I'm going to sit on my hands and wait until Monday to see what the market brings. Like I said, it's been a very, very rough week for the market, but hopefully the market can rebound starting next week, and we can see some good trades coming in. But again, this is what happens when you deviate from the plan. I just wanted to show you that and tell you what's going on with the series, and we will continue on next week. And I just encourage you all to stay motivated, stay inspired, study your butt off so you don't make mistakes like this, and penny stocks will reward you. Thank you.